This is Dr. Kanwal Khalid. And in our previous programs, we have been talking about Harappan Civilization, popularly known as Indus Valley Civilization. And in my last program in this series, I was giving the theory that was presented in 1932 that the Indus Valley people were in touch with the world, and a particular reference was towards Easter Island. Although this theory was completely rejected, but it has again been taken up after the discovery of Indus Valley people DNA in the Aboriginal people of Australia. And then the sailors from, if we study the map, we can see that it's quite possible that sailors traveled either from Sindh or from south of India, and they by sea, and they reached to Australia. And very remarkable change in their anthropology can be seen when we study that these ancient Indus civilization people, when they reached there, they brought the technologies and a type of dog that forever, revolutionized that location. A sudden change in the plant processing and stone tool technologies also. And there is this theory now that this happened because of the Dravidians or the inhabitants of Indus Valley traveled there. Now, let's come back to my main topic, that is a relationship of Easter Island script and Indus Valley script that we have been seeing so far. Now, geographically speaking, these two are the extreme regions of the world. And Easter Island, you all know, it is known for its giant heads, which has recently been discovered that they are not only heads, but these are full bodies that were buried in the mud and the sand, and now it has been excavated out. So these Easter Islands were discovered by the Dutch, who nullified the local population, and they blamed the killing of these people by saying that they were fighting among each other. But this is not the case. Most of them died due to inflicted smallpox epidemic, and there were some other factors that were being involved. So one thing they did was that these Dutch and later on the other European nations, when they entered Easter Island, they destroyed their local cultural heritage. They tried to completely, dissolve whatever they had in their past. And within that process, what they did was that there were some wooden tablets, not some, but thousands of wooden tablets that had the ancient script written on it. Those were also being destroyed. When we talk about that script, it was called the devil's work, and it was completely rejected. Now, the people of that land believed that this script was brought to this land by the immigrants who came from far off lands. Now, if we study these scripts, we find lots of similarity with the script of Indus Valley civilization. Um, all There is one particular element which says that you can observe in this script is that one is angular, which is of Indus Valley, and the Easter Island is cursive. It's slightly angular, but that's quite a possibility because it's like an era of like thousands of years. There's a gap of thousands of years, so there's a possibility that the shape and the form changed. But apart from that, there are many features which are common in both languages. Now, let's explore the possibility of how these people or how this script reached to Easter Island. For that, I have consulted a few maps and some historical facts. The first fact is this, that Aryans, when they came to this land, they pushed the local population, the Dravidians, away from these plains, and they were pushed up to the southern region of the subcontinent. They moved from this land, not all of them, but most of them, and they within that movement, they took away the technologies and the development that they had in this Harappan civilization. So when they went there, they restarted their life, and they again started traveling. Now, there is a solid evidence that Harappan people, they used to do trade literally to many parts of the world, with special reference to Mesopotamian region at that time period. Now, a geographical situation according to the map of the two regions, that is Easter Island and south of India, is very evident and logical, that you can see in the map right now. So we begin our investigation from land nearby southern side of the subcontinent, that is Indonesia. Indonesia is a combination of small islands, and if you look at it, we come across a very solid reference that Indonesia was ruled by the inhabitants of India or the subcontinent. Main attraction of that time period was the availability of the gold. This region was broadly referred to by ancient Indians as Bhumi. Savarna Bhumi was the name which was given to this land, and the word means the land of gold. Wow, this is the attraction that the people had. As a result to that, we come across the dynasties of the kings who were originally from the subcontinent, and they reached there. And since they had the supremacy of Harappan civilization at their back, so they were able to rule these Indonesian islands very successfully. As I said before, the this pushing of Dravidians to southern side led them to explore that side of the world. As a result to that, now if you look at the map again, the sea route from Indonesian island to the smaller islands, which come in between that come in between Indonesia and Easter Island, they give the traveler ample, opportunity to rest, and to have their eatables restocked, and then with these breaks they could reach up to Easter Island. Although it's a very long journey, but it is extremely doable, and this is, I think, what the people did at that time period, that there was some kind of a disaster or some political issues that made some people run away, possibly run away from Indonesia, and they landed in Easter Island. Another very interesting evidence that I come across is that the earliest Easter Island script, which was called Rongo Rongo, it was found on banana leaves. And the inhabitants had this tradition that they were brought by the immigrants. And the search informs, now, this is a very important point, originating from Southeast Asia, the banana plant propagated towards the south and west of the Pacific Ocean, finally reaching Hawaii and Polynesia through several stages. It was almost the only vegetable consumed on the Easter Island. Leaves were used to wrap meat, and the trunk was an important source of fiber for textile. And the earliest traces of the Easter Island script was available on banana leaves, which were later on transferred on the wooden tablets. Now, this is something very important, that the banana plant, which is extremely popular in all the islands of Indonesia and then Easter Islands, and its popularity reaches up to Hawaiian Islands. This originated from our part of the world, and then it reached to those areas. And of course, there were some individuals who have been traveling, and they had been taking these commodities to these islands. Now, coming back to the language, William D. Havasi traced as many as 40 Rongo Rongo symbols correlating with the Harappan script. But this number has exceeded more than 67 now, with the further research that has been done. As I said before, the one visual difference between these two scripts is one is extremely angular, the other one is cursive and rounded. And comparison of both languages also show that the similarities are not only in the shape but in the sequences also. So that is also a very technical point to notice here. Coming to the conclusion of my research is that there is a possibility that the Harappan inhabitants, Dravidians, were pushed up to the southern side of the subcontinent, to Tamil areas that we call them, and from there they traveled to Indonesia. And when they took over the Indonesian islands, from there it was easier to travel by sea and reach to Easter Island, with smaller island in between to give them the rest and the food that is was needed for this long journey. Now, this concept, this theory shatters the myth that Indians never traveled overseas. And interestingly, with this knowledge coming up and with so many evidence that we are gathering here, it is high time that we need to rethink of what has been written in the book. And if we analyze and if we research on these theories, we will definitely come up to some new evidence that will be, a new insight to the lives of our ancestors. And I'm sure that'll raise lots of question mark that we will be raising for the books that we have been studying so far in the name of history, timeline, traveling, culture, art, and heritage of the subcontinent.